What is going on, people? Welcome to Extra Level, a supplement to your usual level with you goodness. Kenny and I, the Sub-Zero hero himself, aka the Dominican Bakugo, is here to discuss the PlayStation 5 reveal event. It was over an hour long. We got a look at a whole bunch of new games. We wanted to jump on and give our reactions to it while they're still fresh in our minds and our hearts. Kenny, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Actually, super excited that we're doing this. It's the first, we tried streaming the first reveal event thing last time that PlayStation did it. We streamed that, but like an impression
Yeah,
thing and extra level, I like it. So I'm excited that we're doing this.
cool. Yeah, me too. So I have my little notepad that I wrote down all the games that were announced as they were shown. We got a whole slew of them to talk about. Some of them we won't get too in depth because we just saw a brief teaser and a little hard to tell. But overall, general reaction. What are your takeaways? How are you feeling? Are you more excited, less excited? How do you think Sony did in this big showing?
I'm very excited actually. I really liked the showcase. Yeah, there were some games that I was expecting that we didn't see, and of course we saw some games that we knew we were gonna see in a way. And I think they did
Hmm.
really great overall. It was long enough. At one point in time, I thought it was never gonna end, and it wasn't
It
in
was
a
long, man.
yeah, and I didn't even take it as a negative thing either. That it felt like it was never gonna end. I was like, damn, like keep showing me games for all I care, you know.
Yeah, and I think that it was well paced. You got the big reveal up front. Nobody. Well, first of all, they showed GTA 5, which was a little bit of an eye roll moment to start off the show. I mean, it's coming expanded and enhanced to PS5. This is the third generation now where Rockstar's bringing out GTA 5. I mean, can't blame them. It's one of the best selling games of all time. But then I think a shock to most people, and I do apologize that my video is so laggy. I guess it must be my internet connection. But anyway, you can hear me. Spider-Man Miles Morales coming holiday 2020. So this might be a launch game, a sequel to the 2017 Spider-Man, or was it 2018? I can't remember off the top of my head, but nobody expected it this soon. And wow, what a great way to start the show.
Yeah, like when that happened and it was like holiday 2020, I was like, it's a launch title, like, and this is the first we're hearing about it. Like, what's going on here? They kept this under wraps, on a tight lip, pretty well. There hasn't been any
Yeah.
rumors about it.
No, I mean we knew that there'd be a Spider-Man 2 or something coming out with the first couple of years of the console, but nobody expected it at launch. Still remains to be seen the scope of this game. Is it a full-on sequel? Um, or is it more of a infamous First Light type of thing where it's another hero in a shorter, more condensed version? I really don't care either way. I think it's really cool that Sony owning Spider-Man, such a big thing, big brand for them. PS4 Spider-Man, one of the best-selling exclusives of the generation. Fantastic title. And then right after that, we got a couple more bangers right off the bat. We got Gran Turismo 7, which everybody knew was coming, but I think a lot of people were a little disheartened with Gran Turismo Sport. Um, it looks beautiful, that's for sure. I mean, we know Gran Turismo's always been a looker ever since the original PlayStation. So, any thoughts on Gran Turismo from you, Kenny?
I wasn't surprised. Like you said, we knew it was coming. Gran Turismo is such a staple franchise. So when it came up on screen, I was like, wow, what? Gran Turismo has always been one of the most beautiful racing games. I know it's not better looking than Forza, but I remember Gran Turismo when I played it on my PlayStation 2. So
Mm-hmm.
it was one of my early racing games that I first got into. So so it was nostalgic seeing. I'm like, hey, it's never gonna go away as long as we have PlayStations. We're gonna have Gran Turismos. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember Gran Turismo 3 A spec being such a big thing in the early days of the PS2, just really showcasing the what the hardware could do. And then we got something that I was super pleased to see, another Insomniac game, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, a fully from the ground up new game. It was like really cool how they were transporting from level to level so quickly and seamlessly. Seems like they're taking advantage of the hardware in a neat way. I've been playing Ratchet and Clank since I was 12. Whenever the first one came out on the PS2, I've played not all of them, but most of them. And the fact that they're going to the lengths of not remaking like they did with the PS4 game, which was kind of a reimagining of the original. The fact that it's a brand new, from the ground up, next gen Ratchet and Clank, not something I was expecting, and very cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. I actually when as that one came up, my son was passing by and he was like, "Oh, what game is that? Let me see, Daddy." And I'm like, "What is that gonna come out for the Xbox?" I'm like, "Nope, PlayStation 5, Poppy." He was like, "Oh man." So it definitely looks great. It looks fun. I don't think I've ever beaten a Ratchet and Clank game, but that's a game I could see myself jumping into.
Cool. Yeah, it's a hell of a franchise, and I think it might be something that your son would enjoy too. It's got action like Fortnite, but it's a good way to teach him about platformers and exploration, and it's got a great sense of humor, good characters. Um, and I don't want to just keep going straight down the line, but the thing that was announced after that was the new Square Enix IP, Project Athia, which I guess Gary Whitta, who is a frequent guest on Kind of Funny, and he's also the writer of Star Wars Rogue One, as well as some DC comics and other stuff in the expanded nerdiverse. He's apparently lending a hand in the writing of the game, so that's very cool. And when they showed the Square Enix and they showed it looking all epic and everything, I was like, "Holy crap! Is this about to be Final Fantasy VII Part Two or Final Fantasy 16?" But new IP, I'm down for it. Um, yeah. So, was there anything, Kenny, that stood out to you as like a surprise that you weren't expecting, or one of the you know ones that we weren't expecting to see that was most appealing to you?
I wanna say that the one that caught me the most off guard was Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8 Village. That one caught me the
Mm-hmm.
most off guard because the trailer's going and I'm like, oh, a horror game looks good, and then I'm like, all right, and then at the end, Chris, what are you doing? And I'm like, Chris, and then the logo comes up. I'm like, Resident Evil, like, holy crap, this is a continuation. This must be the same guy from Seven or Biohazard, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, that
Mm-hmm.
was not expecting that. Like I saw on Twitter and everywhere, like people throwing out the rumors. Some people to my I was like, yeah, no, I don't know why you were putting that out there. They just announced that there was gonna be a season pass, another set of characters. Some people thought Street Fighter 6 was gonna get announced today. You know,
Oh
and I was
no.
like, yeah, no. But this Resident Evil game, I was like, okay, I was not expecting that, and I was like, very, very surprised. I wasn't
And
expecting to
Chris,
see. Well, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, wasn't Chris a character from Resident Evil One?
Yes, Chris is a mainstay. Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 5, he was in 6. And he does pop up in Biohazard in one of the DLC. And I guess he pops up, spoiler
Oh,
alert,
in a
at,
DLC. Okay.
in a DLC and at the end of 7, I guess, when you beat it.
Huh, I did beat Seven. I didn't recall that, and I didn't play any of the DLC, but I thought that the game looked really interesting and cool setting, kind of giving me some Resident Evil 4 vibes, but some also vibes that I hadn't felt before. So, like, I'm glad that they are mixing it up and not making another swampy Resident Evil 7 down south. Like, this looks like a totally new locale. I like that they're going back to first person. So we got the remakes in third person, we got the new stuff in first person. Gives it a very dynamic feel to the series in general. So I agree, that was definitely a top 5 trailer for me.
Oh, for sure. Definitely top 5. I want to say another one that that kind of caught me, by surprise, was I was not expecting more gameplay and like more any gameplay footage. I know we got the teaser, but I didn't expect any gameplay
Hmm.
footage of Ghostwire Tokyo.
Right, and that looked pretty neat.
Yes,
Yeah,
it did. It looked
that
very
was
different
like
too.
looked very I don't know. You got elemental powers. It's first person. Um, Looked pretty psychedelic, and uh, definitely wanting to see more. And I'm glad that that seems like it's moving along in a positive direction. But the first person game that really impressed me was Deathloop. How cool did that look?
I knew you were gonna say that. I saw. I was like, wow. Like I was like, I know we're gonna touch upon Deathloop because the concept is so unique, and it looked
Hmm.
so cool. You know, like the whole teaser trailer and everything. I was like, wow. Like, you know, I didn't play any of the Dishonored games, but I was like, this game really has me where I'm like very interested. I want to follow it and up until it comes out. So I'm excited for that one because the whole concept of you're stuck in this time loop on this island and people are just hunting you for, you know, they're for fun and you're trying to break the loop by killing the eight targets. And I was like, okay, I could get behind this.
Yeah, and I think you can play as the other assassin that it hints to being the one that you're going after, and like I think that you can play it from both sides. I'm not 100% about that, but just the gameplay looked really frenetic and intense, and kind of expanding on Dishonored system of having many different ways to go about a level with all your different powers and weapons, and kind of being creative in that sense, but just essentially stripping away all the steampunk, old England style stuff from Dishonored, and just going full like badass Quentin Tarantino Kill Bill style comic book. Like they're just like, Dishonored was. I don't think it was a franchise that did particularly well commercially. I know it did extremely well with critics, and it sold enough to the where they made a sequel, but I don't think it was the hit that it could have been if it was a more appealing cast of characters and setting. And I think that they're nailing that with what we've seen of Deathloop so far.
Oh, definitely, I can agree with that. I definitely don't think that at any point in time Dishonored really jumped out to me like, oh my god, I need to get this game. Deathloop
Hmm.
does has the different effect on me. It's like wow, like I want this game, and let's hope that it doesn't disappoint. That it comes through and it's a hit when it comes out.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely got that cool factor. Sorry,
Yes.
Kenny, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, man, like you played Dishonored, right? Like,
Yeah, I played one and two. Yeah,
so
didn't play the Death of the Outsider.
so I was gonna say like it must take like a lot of influence from Dishonored, right? Because I saw, you know, I've seen a little bit of Dishonored's gameplay, and I felt like okay, some of the way the character was using some of his abilities in Deathloop, I was like okay, so they're kind of transitioning some of the engine and the fighting mechanics in Dishonored over to Deathloop and making it better. I assume, right?
For sure. Yeah, it looks very, the first person action, and having your powers be able to transport you across the map in interesting ways. And it looks like there's some sort of portal thing going on here where you can zip in and out of locations even quicker. I don't know. I just saw the trailer an hour ago, and now I'm trying to piece it together in my mind. I just remember that it looked very cool. Definitely a spiritual successor, I would say, to Dishonored was what it looked like to me. Um, and then we got a couple, really neat looking mainstays from our generation getting sequels. Hitman 3 looks sick. That level they showed in Dubai, like him just on like the absolute top of the world skyscraper. Um, I think that I didn't play Hitman 2 yet. The 2016 Hitman is a phenomenal game, and they're just gonna next genify it and take it to even greater heights. Hey, hey, get it? Then I think that that's going to be cool. Good place for them to showcase it. And we also got footage, our first look at next gen NBA player sweat in the NBA 2K1 portion.
I was so thrown off about that. I was like, of course, you know, NBA 2K21 got to get itself out there, and why not? You know, everybody's been waiting for the PS5 reveal, so let's throw out NBA players almost real life sweating out there. You know,
Yeah,
um,
I mean that's the thing that even ever since the 360 and PS3 first introduced sweat mechanics, I think they've just improved year over year, and like they're taking it to the next level. And you know, after he does the dunk and the pop off, the "Rah!" you're like, okay, that looks really real. That looks pretty awesome, and it's always exciting to play sports games when a new console generation comes around, whether it be Madden or 2K, and it was cool to get a first look at that.
Oh, for sure. But then my gripe with it is, yeah, they're gonna make it look as beautiful and realistic as possible, but are they gonna make it any better? I just recently got back into 2K, so I was playing 2K20 off of Game Pass,
Hmm.
and man, it's tough sometimes because I'm pretty good. And of course, people are nasty online. They do this. They play this hours without end. I'm just jumping in and playing like an hour of it. But wow, some of
Hmm.
the animations are, you know, just a nuisance. They're not needed. So if you're gonna make it realistic, man, the sweat, that's cool. I don't think I get too excited about a sweaty man. You know,
Speak for yourself, Kenny.
right? Speak for myself. But damn, make it. Hopefully next gen they're able to fix some of the issues that's been plaguing 2K for like the last 3 years.
Hmm. Well, I was a diehard 2K man back about 10 years ago. I like playing with my buddies, but 2K9, 2K10, 11, and 12. Those are the four that I like sunk countless hours into. And since I've just been very casual, but I don't have anything else to say about that.
Definitely, I
um,
get you.
a couple big surprises. And I can't really say this is a surprise because it's been one of the most rumored games going around, but it was the one that made me perhaps the most excited out of all. Demon Souls remake coming to PS5 from Blue Point, the remake extraordinaire studio. They made the Shadow of the Colossus remake, and what else did they remake?
There was another game they
Huh?
remade, right? It was Shadow of the Colossus, and what was the other one? I know it was really big. They did it. Did they remake? No, not Dark Souls one. No.
Oh, I think they did the Okay, so they did the Nathan Drake collection. So remastered all those for the PS4.
Okay.
They did the Metal Gear Solid HD collection, which was 2, 3, and Peace Walker. They did the Ico and Shadow of the Colossus remasters for the PS3. So it's pretty much all they do. But this looked great. Demon Soul is a 2009 PS3 exclusive that has kind of, been left behind because Sony owns the IP. They haven't done anything with it since Dark Souls took off in 2011 and spawned a major franchise. So it'll be great to go back to the original lore, ratchet up the intensity because Demon Souls definitely can't hold a candle as far as great boss fights go in a modern sense compared to a Dark Souls 3 or a Bloodborne. I played through Demon Souls a few years ago after already completing literally every other Souls game. So it was sort of just, it was fun and it was good, very good. It just didn't have the wow factor that those games can have when it's, cutting edge graphics and sound and everything like that. So I'm a big Soulsborne fan, and the fact that this is being remade is just it's very cool, and I think that a lot of people are excited about it.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Honestly, I know that I saw it and I instantly, once again, I was like, "Oh, look at Wiley." You hear me? He's having a field day today with the PS5 event. Demon Souls. I was like, I know this is a remake right here, but still, that's I know we had the rumors swirling around that Blue Point was working on it, but to get it revealed
Hmm.
and shown that it's coming for the PS5, that's perfect. That was one of those that
Yeah.
people were saying, "Hey, PS5 is gonna come out and they're gonna have Demon Souls almost practically at launch." So that's pretty good. That was good to see. Maybe I'll pick it up and I won't beat it, just like any other Souls games that I buy. Most likely.
Well, maybe this will be the one where you finally break through.
Maybe,
And so
maybe.
they the game that they well, actually I won't jump there yet. I want to talk about some of the other smaller titles and surprises. We got to look at the next game from the Hyperlight Drifter creators, Solar Ash. Similar color palette, sort of a neon blue and purple and red going on, except for this one appears to be in 3D. Looked like it might be open world, although no way I can confirm that. Just it looked like much more open environments than the top-down Hyperlight Drifter. So I thought that looked really neat. We got Little Devil Inside, which looked very cool. Remember that Stray game where you play as a cat?
Yeah, Stray. I thought that one looked very beautiful. I was like, I think I rewound back to it a couple times because I was like, really? I'm like, are we talking about a game about just playing as a cat? I'm like, hey, I'm interested. Piqued my interest.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
think what
then
else? There was another one, right? Bug Snacks.
there was
That the Bug
oh
Snacks.
yeah, Bug Snacks looks crazy.
Yes. That one threw me. I was like, okay, it looked weird, and then at the end with the thing coming at the screen, I'm like, okay, I don't know what to think about this game.
Yeah, it looked like it would be something that would work well in VR. I wonder if that one's going to be a PSVR game too. But yeah, that one definitely had a kooky and zany feel that was a nice break from the rest of the show. We got several sort of family-friendly looking games, which I wasn't expecting from a PlayStation conference who, leans a little bit more mature. We got um darn it, it was called Kenna Bridge of something. I didn't get the last word.
It was Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I wrote down also the titles as I was watching it, so I got you.
Nice. Yeah, Kenna Bridge of Spirits. That looked like a friggin' Pixar movie come to life.
Yeah,
Looked really neat.
visually it looked very neat, very beautiful. Honestly, a lot of these indie games, I was like, wow, like these games, I guess I must have had some good amount of money thrown into them because they're looking really great. Um, I would say, what is there another one that I'm trying to looking at my list that might
Sackboy?
have come.
Is that the one? And it's not an indie game, but
Yeah, I
the
know
fact
Sackboy isn't an indie game, but I was gonna ask you, like, why do you think they didn't call it Little Big Planet? Because isn't
I
that
think they didn't call it because they don't have the creative tools to make your own levels and stuff. That's my guess.
okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
because I
think
was
it's more
thrown
of
off.
a co-op platformer. It was given a lot of Super Mario 3D World vibes. Sort of just hop in with your friends and go through more of a traditional 3D space rather than, Little Big Planet is for as little as I ever use the creation tools. That's sort of the big appeal. Is that once you complete the campaign, you can play all types of other shit. I think this is going to be more of a stripped down, maybe even like a reduced price. Maybe not, but that's my theory is why it's called Sackboy: A Big Adventure and not Little Big Planet 4 or whatever.
And the other game I was gonna ask, would we categorize Oddworld Soulstorm as a indie, or is that a major title? Or is
Somewhere in
it
between.
in between?
Yeah, I think I'd call it like a double A game, and I think that looked actually really pretty impressive. Like that was the one Elena was watching it, and she was like, "Whoa, this looks really cool." It
Yeah,
kind of had a
very dark to it.
a dark vibe. Looks like the story is going to be more of a focus than it has been in the past. What's your experience with Oddworld? It's such an all over the place franchise.
Honestly, very little. I think I have them, right? And I just never started any of them, you know? So
I think they made Oddworld new and tasty a couple of years ago, which was a remake, I think, of the original PS1 game, and I found it very finicky and frustrating. Just the actual act of platforming, it was just I was dying too much, and wasn't very into. I just wasn't very into it. I would be willing to give it another shot. I've always thought that the characters and the world look cool. I know that there's that one Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, which is like a third person shooter for the 360 that I think just came to Switch, something like that. I don't know. We're
something
not the
like that,
Oddworld
honestly.
experts.
Yeah, we're definitely Oddworld isn't a franchise that has me jumping out the gate about, but this one looked pretty promising. So maybe that'll change. Maybe I'll look back, start installing the Oddworld game I have and try it out. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. Well, what did you think of Godfall? Which was we got the first look at gameplay of that. That was the first PS5 game ever revealed at the Game Awards back in December. How do you think that one looked like it was shaping up?
If I can be honest, that was kind of the most underwhelming one out of the whole
Really?
showcase for me, because it really didn't jump out like anything that was groundbreaking. Like it was just a lot of hack and slash, and I was like, okay, maybe I just need to see more of it. I don't
I
know how
think,
you
yeah.
felt.
I mean, personally, I thought it looked pretty neat because it looked pretty high fidelity for like a looter type of game, and if it has that sort of, if the combat feels good and it's precise and the weapons are fun to collect, and getting through levels is it reminds me of what maybe a Dark Souls meets Diablo could be, and that's my hope for it. And overall, I thought it looked pretty good. It didn't blow me away, but I liked the hip hop soundtrack they had going when it was playing, and I overall thought that it looked neat. It looked like something that I'd like to learn more about. So I get where you're coming from, though. Didn't didn't blow me away. Uh, but I want to see more.
Oh no, definitely. I definitely want to see more. But I'd say for a game they were like, oh my god, groundbreaking looter shooter for the PS5. I was like, everything else in the review actually caught my attention more than it did. Um,
Mm,
maybe I'm just not too hopeful with Gearbox. Because they're not all of the games are smash hits. They had Battleborn that wasn't all that great. I think
hmm.
sometimes aside from some of the Borderland games, they can somewhat fall short of expectations.
Right, and I don't mean to like correct you and be a jerk, but they're just publishing this game. It's not the same developers as the Borderlands games.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
a it's a yeah, it's a new studio made up of a lot of former AAA developers. If you look back on Level With You episode 36 or something, you can probably hear me talk more about that.
No, yeah, and I and
um,
I'll and I'll look into it a little more, but like I said, maybe I'm just being too picky on it because
mm,
and it's just the looter shooters. Maybe I'm just falling out of love with looter shooters nowadays.
really, I feel like I'm
Falling in love with
like I
it.
like yeah, I've been in love with him in the past, and then I took a break, and now I'm like wanting to get back in there. It's like kind of miss that leveling up my armor 1 point every 2 hours. Um, and what else? We got a new Astrobot game that looked pretty cool. That'll probably be a VR title. That's one I never got around to playing because I don't have a PSVR. Um, Bug Snacks, we already talked about that. Why don't we just move on to the two big things we still need to discuss, and then we can wrap up this little extra level video. Horizon Forbidden West. We got to see it. It is real. It looks beautiful. And no release date or release window, unfortunately. So it's not likely that it's going to be a launch title, but we got Spider Man. I think that makes up for it in AAA space. What do you think of Horizon Forbidden West? The look of it, the title, the whole shebang.
Honestly, it looks amazing. That one was
Mm,
like, wow. It even made me look at my shelf and be like, why haven't I beaten the complete edition that I have here of Horizon Zero Dawn? It's one of those
great
games that I keep saying that I'm gonna get to, and then a million other games come out, and I buy games, and then my backlog becomes bigger. Between that, honestly, this showcase brought to right to my face two games I have in my shelf that I haven't beaten, and that is Spider-Man, and that is Horizon Zero Dawn. Right in my face. Both of them on the shelf. Haven't beaten either one.
Well, you got time, and I highly recommend going back to Zero Dawn. It's got a great ending. It's a well thought out story that really concludes itself in a nice way. I never got around to the DLC, the Frozen Wilds, which um, I can't remember if I have that or not, but I hear that that's very good, even though it sort of takes place in the middle of the story. And I never really like when DLC does that, when it's like not post game stuff, but whatever. I thought this looked fantastic, a real showcase for the hardware. I look forward to when I can see it in 4K once I get my 4K TV with my PS5 and running at 60 frames, because as I'm sure you know that games will look much better than we actually saw today. You know, they were actually being streamed at 1080p max resolution and 30 frames per second max uh, frame rate. So, you know, we're likely going to be getting 60 FPS 4K. So these games that we saw today, while they looked good, they're going to look significantly better once you get your hands on them. Once they start having uncompressed streams that you can really, or you know, videos you can download and view. I think that one's going to be a hell of a looker. That's for sure.
Yeah, honestly,
Uh,
if this is how it looked at 30 frames per second, I can only imagine, and I'm excited. I think that I can attest that I was over here watching the event, excited to watch the event, but also folding my arms, like, man, yeah, it's better than the last Xbox event thing, whatever.
that's for damn sure. Not that
Whatever,
was
man.
bad, but yeah. We did not get a price, we did not get a release date, but we did get a look at the hardware in a very stylish and dramatic build-up moment during the stream, which I thought that just the transitions and the looks of the graphics throughout the whole show were like A plus. Really, really cool. Bringing up that PlayStation love with the sacred symbols and the PlayStation Studios logos flashing everywhere. So it's white, it's black, it's crazy looking, it's from another planet. What do we think of the PS5 console itself?
I like how it looks. At first, I'm like, "Ooh, it looks like a wireless router."
Everybody's posting pictures of routers with two envelopes next to it already. Like
Yep.
consoles are like there were some hilarious Series X memes when that one first came out. So that's to be expected, and I think the reactions that I've seen so far have actually been more mixed than I thought. Because when I first saw it on the screen, I was like, "Damn, that looks sexy." Um, but I don't know. Do I like it more than the Series X's very practical and beefy and just here's a freaking game slab for you? I don't know. What were your thoughts on it?
I will say that once they're both on my entertainment stand, they're gonna complement each other very well.
Hmm.
One's gonna be very sleek white, the other one very robust, heavy duty black square, not so sleek.
Hmm.
And my
Hmm.
entertainment stand is gonna look amazing because it's gonna be next gen all around.
Hell
But
yeah.
that PS5 though, what I was excited about the design reveal wasn't truly just the design. It was because I'm hoping that they do not get rid of the game share ability because I will be all in on the digital edition.
Oh yeah, you're gonna go digital. Oh yeah, we didn't even mention that. This is crazy that like
Mhm.
everybody's been rumored. There's been rumors that the next Xbox is gonna have two versions. One of them is gonna be all digital. One of them might be a little less powerful. And Sony just right out the gate, there's a digital edition and there's a disc drive edition. There likely will be a price difference. Um, so you're going in all digital with it, huh?
I say why not? Hopefully there is a price difference. Hopefully the all digital is a little cheaper. But why not? Like I don't really watch movies on Blu-rays anymore. I'm buying all my movies digital nowadays, and yeah, I like collecting my physical games, but I do it for my Nintendo Switch. I was doing it for the PS4, but then I'm game sharing, so why do it? Might as well just game share all the way through, just like I do on the Xbox. I don't buy any physical games for the Xbox, so hopefully, they don't get rid of the ability to game share because then
Hmm.
it'll suck for me. Because then that's the whole point of going all digital.
Well, for me, I will definitely be getting the disc version because I have about 50 physical PS4 games that I hope will still be playable. Will I have to go to the PS Store and download a new license for it. I don't know. I don't see why. I think that they likely will be compatible. I know that they've certainly not been as upfront as Microsoft has been as far as backwards compatibility goes, which is a little concerning. But for me, just and I like getting the physical copies for PlayStation games. I don't know why. My Xbox is my digital console just because of Game Pass and the way that infrastructure works of downloading and uh, deleting kind of in a very devil may care attitude way because hell whatever, I got the gaming, the Netflix of gaming, and that's great. So I like that I have kind of two sides of the spectrum there, and my PS4 is my more like I want to get The Last of Us 2 physical just so I can have it next to The Last of 1 physical that I have. And um, so yeah, I think it's cool that they're doing it, although I hope that it doesn't spell the end. I think that there always going to be a place for physical games. If they, yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future. No one can predict everything that the next 6 to 8 years will hold for the PlayStation 5, but I think this was a really interesting and engaging first look. Looking forward to learning more in the coming months, and yeah, it's been good reacting to it with you, Kenny.
Same here, same here. I enjoyed this. And hopefully there'll be other reasons for us to do this again. And I really liked it, and we'll see how what other information we get for the PS5 and Xbox Series X. You never know. Maybe now with this, we'll see more Xbox stuff within the next couple weeks. They don't want to stay behind. They want to be the
Yeah, they got to come
trendsetter. They want to
back.
be, yep. Especially with all the gameplay that we just saw. So
All the gameplay. Yeah, that's one thing that they really got. Like, I don't know if it was planned in advance, like all the backlash after the Series X event where there was very limited gameplay, and this was just like, no, here's a freaking like minute and a half long chunk of the game. And so yeah, I think that Xbox likely will come back with I don't know about a vengeance, but with something to prove next time around. So we'll certainly be there to discuss that when it happens. And yeah, thanks for tuning in to our special edition of Extra Level. My name's Wiley Olmstead. I've been joined by Kenny, and we will see you next time.
see you guys.